That's the lesson we're supposed to get from that Old Testament, is it's supposed to be written on the tablets of our hearts so that we can see that we're not supposed to be that disobedient. We're supposed to be the obedient. We're not supposed to be that selfish. We're supposed to be totally giving. Because why? He's giving. He's not selfish. He's completely giving. Wow. Give us everything we need and more.
Yeah.
You know? But man is just like, you know, I want it now. And it's just like,
Yeah.
so it's a really powerful look at things. Okay, that's the next
But we
lesson.
got to bring truth to those who think that way.
That's right. That's right.
And if they don't receive it, then somebody else will carry it.
That's right. Okay, so don't put them to the test. Everybody agrees with that?
Absolutely.
Not a good idea. All right. Number 10, to imitate Yahweh's good and upright ways. In other words, we're supposed to be like
Yeshua.
All suffering.
Yah-like. Yeah. We're supposed to have the characteristics of Yahliness. Right? Yahliness. I'm not going to say godliness, okay? I used to say godliness. That was part of my message. I'm not godly anymore. I'm Yahly. Yahly pop, Yahly pop, Yahly pop, Yahly pop. Dun, dun. She can do it. I can't do that. Okay. And that's Deuteronomy 28:9. Who has that?
My eyes are watering. Okay, 9.
At least they're not thirsty.
Right.
We have a mass on our hands.
I got some water here if you want. Splash it on your eyes.
Okay. The master will establish you as a people holy to himself, as he has sworn to you. If you keep the commandments of Yahweh, your Yahweh, and walk in his way.
Word for word.
So that's almost
Sorry,
exactly.
Yahweh,
Yeah.
your Elohim.
Most of those
Probably says
are pretty much the same. Yeah,
Yeah.
except for it says Elohim instead of
Right, Yahweh, your Elohim.
But
This is amplified, so it's a little.
Oh.
so here's the importance. We need to understand that since Yahweh is the lawgiver and his word is his law, then it follows that every word which proceeds from his mouth is the law. The New Testament is as much Yahweh's law as the Old. The two are one harmonious union. Furthermore, the New Testament explains the Old, while the New Testament is contained in the Old Testament, and the Old acts as particular case studies of applied jurisprudence.
Yeah.
Now, we have a paralegal in the room.
No.
Do you know what jurisprudence is? Okay. Does anybody know what jurisprudence is?
What's the first word?
Jurisprudence. It's one word.
Proof of innocence?
No.
Judge?
In a case, and this is a case, we can look at this whole case for mankind, okay? In a case, there are things that are set up that set precedent.
Right.
So jurisprudence is when we have a precedent that's been set,
Okay.
then we know that we are to
Back.
follow that and we don't change it. We might adjust it if there's reason to. So in
Right.
other words, there are original laws that were set up in this country. Those laws, okay,
They
Are
were
the-
amended.
and they were amended because then there was a new case that came along.
Yeah.
So in other words, the case that went from Abraham, then there was a new case that came when we were talking about Isaac and Rebekah. And then there was a new case that came when we were focused on his son Yaakov, who became Yisrael, and the two daughters, okay, that he married, Leah and Rachel. So as each different part of the lineage, it set up new precedent, but it came back to that same applied case studies of jurisprudence. You see what I'm saying? So it's really important in building a case, because that's what we're trying to do here, is build a case to say, is the law important? It's pretty obvious to him that it is very important, isn't it? So let's just worship a little bit and free our minds. Be able to everybody stand up.
Without the law, there would be no sunrise, and without the law, the moon would not stay in place. Without the law, you would not be able. You would float away. There'd be no gravity.
There'd be no gravity.
Molecules wouldn't stay together.
And what about the water?
Why is daytime the beginning of the day and not nighttime? The nighttime is the beginning of the day.
Right?
We've just been accustomed to the Hasatan tradition